I have reviewed a lot of drawing tablets, and I mean a lot. This isn't all of them, is it? Oh yeah, I forgot about the bigger ones. And drawing tablets come in all different sizes and shapes and of course prices. And I'm gonna link all of these tablets down below in the description, but you can also find my rankings over on my website. So for the sake of this video, I'm gonna break these tablets into two categories. The first category are the non-screen tablets. They come with a pen. They usually are just a flat black surface. You draw on the pen on the surface and the line appears on the screen in front of you. They tend to be simpler, have less features, but also can be a lot cheaper. And then there's the screen-based drawing tablets. Some of them can be fairly inexpensive. Some of them can be extraordinarily expensive depending on the quality of the screen and how many features they're packing in. Like, are they 4K? Are they a touch screen? That sort of thing. Now, a lot of people assume that if it has a screen and it's more expensive, it's better. But a lot of professionals love these tablets that don't have a screen. These non-screen tablets do have a bit of a learning curve. My very first drawing tablet did not have a screen, and I remember when I got it for Christmas years and years ago, started drawing on it, I was really kind of disappointed because it was really hard to use. And it took me a few weeks of using it every day and drawing and sketching on it to really get a feel for it before it started to become second nature. And then since then, I've kind of lost that skill. Oops. Even when I review these now, it takes me several hours of drawing before I start to actually become even just close to competent on them. There's just a learning curve there. When you're drawing on a screen, it's more like drawing on paper. You can see the lines that you're leaving. You can see where that next line is going to start. You can just see where you're going. It's easier for beginners. Now, something all of these drawing tablets have in common is all of the ones I'm going to be covering today have pens that I really, really like. Some pens I like a little more than others, but generally I'm not going to include anything on this list that has a subpar pen. I think the drawing experience on all these pens, very, very good. Mwah, chef's kiss. And I'm not going to cover every device here. I'm just going to cover my favorites, the ones I recommend. Of course, all of the products I'm talking about here are not standalone devices. They have to be connected to a computer. A computer like this, the Lenovo IdeaPad Slim 3X15, powered by the Snapdragon X, who happens to be the sponsor of today's video. Now Wacom, Sense Labs, XP Pen, all of those support these new Snapdragon laptops, and that's great because you no longer have to choose between performance and battery life, because here you're getting both. And if you watch this channel a lot, you know that I've reviewed a lot of laptops, and the downside has always been battery life, especially when you're using creative apps that draw a lot of power. The apps we use every day can hit a laptop's battery hard. And you could work on the laptop unplugged for a while, a few hours, but eventually you had to find your way over to a power outlet. And all of that changed last year when Snapdragon rolled out their X series of processors. And this IdeaPad Slim 3X can last me all day long. And I'm not just doing light tasks like watching YouTube videos. I'm talking about opening any drawing app, the Affinity Suite, video editing, doing real work. If you're not familiar with these Snapdragon processors, a lot of this may sound too good to be true. So how is all of this happening? Well, these processors are a lot more power efficient than the old x86 processors that laptops have used in the past. These Snapdragon processors can give you great performance without drawing as much power. If your computer is using less power to do the same tasks, you're going to get less battery drain. And the more wattage your processor pulls, the more heat it's going to produce. So this IdeaPad isn't going to get nearly as hot because it's not using as much power. So it's not just the battery that's going to benefit from these more efficient processors. Your laptop isn't going to get as hot. It's going to be more comfortable to actually use, like, on your lap. And as a creator, you know, with the apps that you're using all the time, those end up kicking on the fans to kind of eject a lot of that heat. In this case, since you're not producing as much, this laptop tends to be a lot quieter. And not just that, but those older power-hungry processors, in order to draw enough power, needed to be plugged in to hit their peak performance, to draw enough wattage to really power through those tasks. And the Snapdragon X processors can maintain that maximum performance while still being unplugged. Also, it's worth mentioning, this IdeaPad Slim 3X is affordable. It's got a touchscreen, it's got two USB Type A ports, it's got a USB Type C port, an HDMI port, port, even an SD card reader. You hear that, video makers? An actual SD card reader. You don't need dongles anymore. Lenovo adds a lot of other little amenities to most of their laptops as well, like a fingerprint reader, a little manual camera cover slider. They even squeezed a number pad into the keyboard. Check out my link down below in the description to learn more about the Lenovo IdeaPad Slim 3X15 powered by the Snapdragon X today, and also check out the great deals that they have available to you, my viewers. So with that out of the way, let's go into these no screen options that I mentioned before. I'm going to start with the really nice one. Now this tends to be more expensive. This is the Wacom Intuos Medium. Now one thing that I recommend if you go with a non-screen tablet is getting a medium size or a large size tablet. I find these small ones to be just a little too small. What these tablets are doing is they have these little dots, or they'll have these little edges around. That shows your live area. That maps to your screen. So the upper left-hand corner is where your cursor appears on your screen in front of you. The lower right-hand corner is where the cursor appears down below. You get the idea. And when you have a really small drawing area, just the tiniest movements can sometimes leave really big lines depending on how big your computer's screen is. And so getting into that tiny detail or trying to kind of hit some of those lines can be a little harder on the smaller ones. For me, the medium size is perfect, but for a lot of professional artists, they absolutely love those large sized drawing tablets. Now, the reason I recommend the Wacom Intuos is because it's kind of perfect in a lot of ways. This comes with the Wacom Pro Pen 3, probably my favorite stylus out there right now. It just feels so good to draw with this thing. The pressure sensitivity is great. The initial activation rate is great. Overall, it's just a fantastic pen. This device is also crazy thin. It's also battery powered, so you can connect it via Bluetooth. After you charge up the battery, it is going to last for weeks and weeks on one charge. And there's even some shortcut buttons along the top. This would be the one area where I kind of like the last generation of Intuos a little bit better than this generation of Intuos. Having those buttons up at the top means I have to reach over my drawing hand. I preferred them on the side. They just kind of got out of the way. I could draw with my right hand and use the shortcuts with my left hand. But after using this for a few hours, I did get used to the button placement and it was okay. Okay, I'm going to address the elephant in the room now. The Wacom Intuos Medium Pro is really expensive, $380 for this. Crazy expensive. There's other brands that do it just as well for less money. For $100 less, you could get this Sense Labs pen tablet. It's $260. It comes with more stuff. It comes with extra pens. It comes with a little shortcut remote. There's a lot of cool stuff here. Even that is kind of pricey for a non-screen tablet. And one of the nice things about these non-screens is you can find them dirt cheap. So here is the one I would recommend. This is the XP Pen Deco MW, and it starts around $50 to $60 for the medium-sized one. And the reason I like the MW is because it can be wireless, so it can connect via Bluetooth. You get that medium size. They also have a large version that you can find for around $75 to $80. It's a little harder to find these nowadays because I think they're kind of sold out this time of year, but you can still find them out there. I think they give you a really good drawing experience for a lot less money. If you're a beginner, these would be the ones that I would look at. They also make a pro version of this. It has a slightly better pen with more levels of pressure sensitivity, but I can't really tell the difference in the pressure, so I think going with the non-pro in this case is just as good. Now it's time to talk about screen-based drawing tablets, and I'm going to break this up into three categories: small, medium, and large. And you guessed it, the smaller the screen on the tablet, the less it's going to cost. The large ones, they could get really expensive. Many of these brands have like pro versions and non-pro versions. When we're talking about the small ones, I tend to float towards the non-pro versions because I don't think you're getting that great of features on the pro versions. Like if you're going to spend more money, I would look more towards screen size than better screen. Now, one that I really like is the Wacom Move Ink 13. There is one problem with that, and that is the price. Actually, there's two problems. The name is confusing too. Wacom also makes two Android tablets with the Move Ink name. This is not an Android tablet. This is a standalone tablet that connects to your computer. But the reason I recommend this is one of the more inexpensive ways to get the Pro Pen 3. And this tablet has an OLED screen, which looks really nice. And this tablet is crazy thin. So if you are on the go and you want a tablet to take with you, this is definitely the one I would recommend. It's kind of worth the price if you need that mobility and if you want that Wacom pen. Now the next one I would recommend is this. This is the Huion Canvas 13. It was one of my favorite products that came out last year. It's got some shortcut keys. It's got these cool little dials along the side. The screen looks better than it should at this 13-inch size at this price point. I think if you're a beginner looking for a tablet that doesn't cost too much, that gives you a lot of features, this is really the one I would recommend. It comes with Huion's pen, which is really, really good. There's a little bit of matte texture to the screen, so your pen feels really good when you're drawing on it. It's easy to hook up. It's easy to use. It's pretty lightweight. I'm just a big fan of this thing. You can find tablets cheaper than this. This is a 13-incher. And the reason I recommend 13-inchers is because when you connect this to a Windows or a Mac computer and you're drawing in Krita or Clip Studio or Photoshop or something like that, what you notice is the smaller your screen gets, the less screen real estate you have for drawing, the harder it is to like create a new layer or change your brush sizes and do that sort of thing. 13 inches is kind of that spot where it's like, okay, the interface is big enough, I can work within this realm. They do make them smaller. You can get a 12-inch version of an XP pen like this. You can get a 10-inch XP pen that is dirt cheap. It is super cheap, $170. And it's fine. Like, the screen isn't great, but it's good enough. It can get you by. I guess it's not a bad choice for beginners. Just know that it can be a little hard to hit some of those interface elements on a 10-inch screen. It's just a little too small for a Windows device, in my opinion. If you could spring for that 13-inch Huion Canvas, I would definitely recommend it. Next up, we have our medium tablets. And this is an area where it gets kind of interesting. This is my favorite size. I define medium around 15, 16 inches. And the reason I like this size is because I can set it on my desk, I can draw on it, I can hit the interface really well. It's a good size for drawing. But when I don't need it, I can slide it off to the side because I have a 2-monitor setup. It's still mobile enough to do that. When you get to the larger ones, it's kind of harder to move those around. They're really heavy. They really sit on your desk. And for this category, I'm going to recommend a Wacom again. This is cool because in years past, I have not recommended Wacom products because they're just too darn expensive. But Wacom has their pro level tablets, which are still too darn expensive, but they have this non-pro version for $700. On the smaller drawing tablets, one thing that you find is they come with HD screens, 1920 by 1080. This comes with a 2.5K display. That's 1440p for you gamers out there. And what I really like about this is at 16 inches, it just looks a lot crisper. Like just HD, you can see pixels, it doesn't look quite as modern. But at 2.5K at 16 inches, it actually looks really, really good. The other thing that you're getting here is you're getting the same Pro Pen 3 that you're getting on that higher end Wacom device, that Pro Wacom Cintiq. It's the same pen, it's the same drawing experience. That's the main thing you're paying for here. And you might be wondering, well, what am I giving up by not getting that super expensive Pro? One of the main things is a touch screen, but the thing that really drives up the price is the color accuracy. And some people get confused here because they're like, well, I want a color accurate display. But the level of color accuracy on the Pros is really pro level color accuracy. This 16 is good enough. It is fine for everything that I do. I think for 90% of the professionals out there, it's going to be plenty color accurate enough for what you do. If you are someone who color calibrates all of your displays and worries about that sort of thing and works on a team where you have to do that, you tend to know who you are, and that tends to be who the pro end things are for. Now, if you're on more of a budget, but you want to go with this size, the other thing I'd recommend is the Huion Canvas 16. This is almost identical to the Huion Canvas 13 I mentioned in the small category, except it's a little bigger. It still has the same wheels, it has the same pen, has the same shortcut keys. The screen is definitely good enough. I think it's just a really good price for a really good device. Save a few $100s over that Wacom. I'm going to throw this one in there too because I just reviewed it a few months ago and I really, really liked it. This is the XP Pen Artist Ultra 16. It's really good. This started out as like a $900 tablet. It's pretty expensive for a 16-inch tablet, but it's 4K. It's OLED. It's got a touch screen. It basically comes with all of the bells and whistles. And one thing I will say about that 4K display is that I think at the 16-inch size, you don't need 4K. One of the nice things though is that OLED screen. It's going to give you that brightness boost over some of the other ones that I've mentioned here. So if you're looking for the best of the best 16-inch displays without spending like the thousands of dollars that a Wacom Pro costs, this might be what is worth looking into. Before I get to the large category, I want to shout out about two pen displays that come in at 19 inches, and these are kind of in-betweeners. I think they're really, really fascinating. Like I mentioned, those large pen displays can be very, very heavy, but this is the Huion Canvas Pro 19. It's technically 18.4 inches, but that gives you a lot of drawing space. It's not nearly as heavy as the other ones. It's a 4K screen, which at 19 inches, you can probably tell the difference between that 1440p screen and the 4K screen. It's a really nice looking display. It is not OLED, but it still looks really, really good. It has Huion's 4.0 pen technology, which is fantastic. Comes with two pens, comes with a shortcut remote, and usually you can find it nowadays under $1,000. Okay. Let's talk about big pen displays. Now, I haven't talked about this brand too much up to this point, but this is the Sense Labs 24 Plus. This brand is less known. It's actually like a sister brand to XP Pen. They're owned by the same mother company, so they're using the same technology and the same pens and that sort of thing. But what Sense Labs is doing is it's adding more professional things into their drivers and their software, and they're trying to compete directly with Wacom while undercutting Wacom in price. And I think this 24 is a great example of that. It comes with all the bells and whistles. It comes with the shortcut remote. The shortcut remote has like a little LCD screen on it so that you can see like what the shortcuts are before you actually tap on them. That's really kind of a neat feature. And before this year, when you looked at these large scale Wacoms, they cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for the Cintiq Pros. And again, the reason why is because they're going for that super high-end color accuracy. Sense Labs maybe isn't reaching those heights, but it's trying to get closer to that with its color accuracy. But this year, the Cintiq, or Wacom, has come out with the Cintiq 24 Touch. And this is another tablet that I think is totally worth looking into if you're looking for a larger tablet that is anchored to your desk. This thing comes in at $1,500. You get your Pro Pen 3, you get full touch support. One of the downsides is this is only a 2.5K display, and while that looks really good on a 16-inch display, I still think it looks pretty good here. Once you get up to this size, 24 inches, this is the area where you might want to start looking at these 4K displays. Sense Labs has that with their 24-inch display, which is why I wanted to add it to this list. So I really love that Cintiq, even if it doesn't have a 4K display. The last one I'm going to mention in this kind of 24-inch category is the Huion Canvas Pro 24 Gen 3 that just came out a few weeks ago. This thing is also 4K. It comes with two pens. They've redesigned their shortcut remote. It's kind of interesting. It's taking some nods from what Sense Labs is doing with theirs, with a little LCD screen on it. What most of these displays that I've talked about up to this point have is they come with some kind of adjustable stand. This one does not. It comes with feet along the bottom, which is nice because you can set it up at a drawing angle. But one of the things that I look for in one of these displays is that when I'm not using it, I like having a stand so I can adjust it up and kind of set it off to the side and actually use it as my main monitor or a second monitor and then pull it down when I'm drawing. You can pay another $30 if you want to get a stand, so it's not like the end of the world there, but just kind of note that it doesn't come with a stand kind of built in. But this has the same great pen that you get on all of Huion's products and all of that fun stuff. So those are kind of the three that I recommend in this 24-inch category. Whew, I got out from underneath that pile. Have I missed anything? Is there anything you would include on this list that I haven't added? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.